Hi, I'm the Merc with the mouth.
I was not prepared for that. And I'm the Scarlet Witch. Happy Halloween. And we are the Watchers in the Basement.
Yes, happy Halloween indeed. Welcome to the Watchers in the Basement. We're here today to discuss the final 2 episodes of the Disney Plus series, Agatha All Along. The episodes are titled, and it's hard for me to read with this mask, and I've got other stuff, so stick with us.
Lord.
The final episode 8 was titled Follow Me, My Friend, to Glory at the End. The 9th episode was titled Maiden Mother Crone. We had a 2-part finale, Brittany. What did you think about the final 2 episodes of Agatha All Along?
Justin, it pains me to say this. It really honestly does. For as much as I've enjoyed watching the series, I feel like these last 2 episodes ran out of gas.
Yeah.
And for me personally, it felt a little flat. I don't feel that the big, reveal of Billy and having realized that the road indeed wasn't real. It was something that he concocted, very similar to that of his mother, Wanda, with the hex. I just don't feel like it landed quite that well. And then also what ended up happening with Agatha, death was like a final sort of theme in this whole series, right? We all thought and were hoping that, all these people that died along the road, like we're going to see him again. And no, like death is final. Like that's the one thing that we all have in common, all creatures of the earth. That is the surefire thing. And yet in a way, yes, spoilers, y'all, in case you haven't, noticed, Agatha is not entirely gone. Is she dead? Yes, but she's also not entirely gone. So I don't understand. We're going to talk about it, of course, in depth, but for right now, I'm a little bummed out if I'm totally being honest. Quick shout out to those in the chat. Trisha, Texas Potterhead, she's joining us right now. Hey, Watchers, the crown suits me. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I wore this all day at work today.
Yeah, you did.
It was also just fun to, dress up a little bit at work, show my other, alter ego. Trisha says also the big reveal of Rio being Lady Death, and then that was it. Yeah, I kind of am with you there, girl. She also says, I absolutely love the show, but it definitely felt like they ran out of gas. The last 2 episodes definitely left me feeling empty. Also, shout out to King B. Johnson. Happy Halloween, Watchers on Glory Road. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents, Justin. What were your overall thoughts on the episodes?
I'm kind of surprised that I think I'm higher on the finale than the final 2 episodes than you were. The thing about this show, I feel like this show did a good job of not having the, in my perspective, the flat finale that we've had for all the other Disney Plus shows. This is the 11th MCU show on Disney Plus. And for me, I think it's one of the better ones. To me, it's like in the top 2 or 3. I enjoyed kind of how it all worked out. I enjoyed the symmetry with Billy, with what happened with Billy and with what happened with Wanda and WandaVision. Like there was some cool stuff there. I agree that Agatha becoming a ghost is kind of strange, and the fact that Lilia and Alice, they didn't become ghosts. Like that's kind of bizarre.
I have a theory, and we'll cover that when we get to that point, but I do have a theory. So be sure to ask me about that theory.
Yeah, no, I mean but I enjoyed the show. The thing is, I think the show was so good overall that that was were the final 2 episodes the best? No, but and honestly, I feel like you could have probably made the finale. A lot of the finale could have been worked into other episodes, I believe, like getting her backstory, explaining her. I mean, I guess explaining her son was obviously important. I don't know that it had to be saved for the very end, So that's probably something I would change a little bit. But all in all, I enjoyed the final 2 episodes. I enjoyed all 9 episodes of this series. I think this is one of the top 2 or 3. I think Loki is my favorite because Loki had the strongest finish, season 2.
I agree.
But this show and WandaVision to me are kind of neck and neck. And we can talk about the other shows later, kind of go through the list, and I'll read them off, and Brittany, you can kind of give me your quickie rankings. But I mean, I enjoyed the show. So let's get into the episode. Yeah, let's get into the episodes plural. because episode 8, Follow Me, My Friend, to Glory at the end. We were at the end of the road.
Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, I called that was going to be one of the episode's titles. I didn't know if it was going to be this one or the final one, but I did call that it was going to be an episode title. So
yeah, good call. Good call. Yeah.
So real quick, Justin, before we
sure.
deep dive, Trisha says, I wish the big reveal of the road being something Billy created wouldn't have been spoiled with the previous flashback bedroom scene. And that's something we have talked about here on the podcast,
right?
Is the fact that the things that we saw on the road were very similar to items that were throughout William/Billy's room, right? We saw like the Wizard of Oz thing. We saw other things in his bedroom that we kind of just related to what we saw on the road. It wasn't until the penultimate episode that we got down to like the nitty gritty of like these certain episodes, these little trinkets that are all throughout his bedroom. So yes, I feel like if we hadn't seen some of those items in the background of the bedroom, the big reveal of it being an illusion that Billy was able to turn into reality, because there's something that Lilia had said in her reading to Billy about being a magician and that he has the potential and power to turn all of his creations into realities. And that was, kind of similar to that of what Wanda was able to do, right? With creating the hex. But both, kind of did it unintentionally, I guess. At one point, Wanda just kind of accepted it. And it's like, okay, I'm just going to live in this fantasy where I have my husband and I have my family and what have you. And Billy just seemed to be completely unaware of what he was able to do. So that's another great point by Trisha. So continue, Justin, please.
Yeah, no, Trisha's been on it. Like we said, this whole season on the show, the chat's been killing it and has been probably definitely a step ahead of me. I don't know about a step ahead of you, but certainly a step ahead of me. But I think maybe because of that, maybe that's why I enjoyed the show more than other people did, because I wasn't, while we were reviewing it every week and I've been watching episodes multiple times, I'm not like, I don't mind them explaining to me what's going to happen with the story. I don't need to like try to figure it out on my own. I know a lot of people do that, and that's fine. And but this was the kind of show that I just kind of wanted to sit back and enjoy and let the chips fall where they may. So
and I get that, and I think for people who like have very little either knowledge or expectations and that kind of thing, which I'll say time and again, I try to go into these shows and movies without any expectations whatsoever, because if I have expectations and then I'm, those expectations aren't met, I'm just going to be left disappointed. And that was the problem with regarding these last two episodes, is that every episode, all the way up to Lilia's episode, which by the way, for me is arguably the best episode of this whole series. Every episode just kind of built on each other and just got better and better and better. And then it was like, I don't know. It just fell short for me, honestly.
Yeah.
And it really pains me to say that, because I really have enjoyed watching this entire show. It's just, there's some things that just really don't match up with what story we were told in this series. I'm not talking about anything else outside of this series. I'm talking about what we were presented in this show. And then at the very end, it didn't add up or wasn't explained. And I don't see how, if let's say they're leaving this open for not so much a sequel to Agatha All Along, but another series that's going to follow, Billy or Wiccan, or, a movie or something. I don't see how they're going to like come back and like tie up all these loose ends.
Well, I mean, like that's a good way to like talk about. So, okay, first of all, when you first watched this episode, did you notice the teaser trailer for the rest of this year and then all of 2025 for Disney Plus? Did you watch that?
No, because I was so eager to getting to watch the episodes. I skipped it. So sorry, my bad.
Well, they laid out the slate for next year's first TV. They have 6 TV projects next year and 3 movies.
Come on.
So there's a lot. 9 projects for Marvel next year. It's a big year. However, after that, 2026, there's the only thing on the slate for 2026 right now is Avengers Doomsday, right? Well, that and the Spider-Man sequel that is untitled. It's also going to be coming out in July 2024. I mean, July 24th of 2026. So obviously there's going to be another movie or two in there. There's going to be TV series, a couple, I would think. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get obviously Vision Quest is something that is being talked about as a series that could bring us, all these characters who survive. They could return in that series. There's a Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness sequel, or Doctor Strange 3 coming out probably late 2026, early 2027. So that could definitely be a way to reintroduce Wanda and her family and everything. And also there could be a Wanda movie down the road. You never know. So I'm just saying, like, right now it's kind of a blank slate after 2025. So there's a lot
I
of
mean,
possibilities, a lot of chances that we might see this story continue.
I get it.
Yeah.
I think, however, if I've read enough articles or things, speculation is that Marvel is kind of like trying to wrap up the multiverse saga as fast as humanly possible, I think. And that, which sucks, but like but there are other factors, I think, that attributed to how and why things may have not panned out the way that they could have. And they've had to pivot a lot, but
but see, here's what I'm going to jump in, because the people who are saying that, after Deadpool Wolverine, I don't think anybody was like clamoring for, we got to cast the X-Men now. No, it was pretty cool to have Wolverine, have Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine, so like, the multiverse saga, maybe it doesn't have a whole lot left in it, but you know what it does have left in it? It has 2 Avengers films, 2 massive movies that are probably going to make 2 billion at least, a piece. So like, when people say that kind of stuff, it's like, okay, whatever. But like, when these things hit theaters and everybody's talking about it and everybody's excited about it, then I want you to shut the hell up from what you said, about all that they don't know what they're doing. And I'm so fatigued. It's like, I'm keeping receipts on people. I'm keeping track of what people say, because you got to be consistent. Like this, like, I'm so excited for everything, and then everything happens, and you're like, I'm so tired of everything. I'm so
Justin
fatigued.
holds no grudges whatsoever.
I'm just
no grudges.
so like, honestly, like the fandom of this stuff is kind of wearing me out, from like just how like up and down yo-yo people are about this stuff. It's like, if you don't like it, don't watch it. Like, move on, but like, you can't, because some of these people need to comment about this stuff to make money. So anyway, rant over. Let's get back to Wanda, to what the hell's the show called? Agatha All Along.
God.
Sorry, it's been a long week. It's been a long week. Starting off the episode, let's get into it. The episode opened with Alice. We see her spirit leaves her dead body, and Rio forces her to like cross over. She says, "This can't be the end. It has to be the beginning. I finally broke the curse. I can finally do something with my life now."
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think about that? I wasn't sure we were going to see Alice again, and we got her right away.
It at least was a good way to tie up the loose end about where Rio was after the events of that particular trial. And then you get to see the conclusion of what happens with these people who die, right? What happens to their soul, if you will. Like they return to who what they look like. They apparently can see their deceased body, and Rio is the one shepherding them to go beyond the veil, if you will. So it was heartbreaking to see her again, because it kind of gives you excited, like, oh, maybe like everyone is going to come back who has died. But if anything that we've learned from the series is that death is final, and death has a job to fulfill. And somehow Agatha's been helping her all along, pun intended, with the title. But I will be making several references about that as we talk. But to see the finality of what happens to everyone once they've died, it's like, okay, there is no more. There's no bargaining. I think like death is very subjective as to who she may offer special treatment to.
Right.
So, but for these witches, it seems that this was their end of the road.
Yeah, definitely. And Rio explains to Alice that you're a protection witch. You died protecting somebody. So that was like basically telling her that she kind of served her purpose. And then we continue where we have a scene with Agatha and Rio, and Agatha basically agrees to give Billy to Rio. Rio is very upset that Billy was given a second life. What did you make of that, Brittany?
I am glad you asked, because this is one of the things that bothered me with this episode, particularly because at the start of this episode with this conversation with Rio and Agatha is that Agatha has been distracting Rio from Billy, right? Understanding and being able to read him and understanding that he has possessed a once dead body and therefore has disturbed the sacred balance of things. So the whole thing is she has to take him, but she can't because for some reason Billy has to give himself up willingly. And so this is something that does not pan out at the end of the episode, and we'll talk about it when we get there, but this is just one of the few things that this particular episode bothered me. But because of this conversation and whatnot, Agatha and Rio will strike a deal, if you will. And the comment that I made earlier about special treatment is that Rio is, I guess, trying to appeal to Agatha and say, no one in the history of time has received the kind of special treatment that you have. And that takes Agatha aback a little bit. She's like, you call what you did special treatment? You gave me nothing. You took everything, which is kind of very open-ended. It's like, well, what special treatment is it? Is it the fact that you were granted a long life? Is it the power? Is it the fact that, what deal was ever struck between the two of them? Because it's like we did eventually learn that there was a relationship, right? Yeah, that much has been said, but we don't know details about them, and we don't know why death has allowed Agatha to live for so long, and is it because she's supplying bodies to death and that kind of thing? Like, I don't know. There's just there's loose ends, and it just doesn't. It doesn't. I don't like loose ends.
Fair. What you think about? So Rio says Billy has to turn himself in or she'll lose him. That was something I kind of didn't totally get. So if he dies again, he could reincarnate himself. Is that what they were saying?
See, that's the other thing I don't fully understand either, because apparently Tommy's in the same boat too. Tommy hasn't been able to find a body to go, take over and exist. He's just kind of floating around in purgatory? Like, I don't know, because the fact that they are a creation of Wanda from the Hex, right? Or in the Hex.
Yeah.
That much is not explained. And, I also don't understand why Billy has to give himself up freely. Like, I don't get that either.
Yeah. And if he can die and then reincarnate, wouldn't that be like a third body or a third life? Or
you know what that makes him, Justin?
What's that?
Marvel Jesus.
There we go. There we go. Here we go. By the way, this mask will not stop. I keep having to push it
Just
back.
Just take it off. Just move on. Take it off.
I can't.
Oh God.
I'm committed to the bit.
Okay.
Yeah. So we get that. What did you think about when Rio basically agrees to the deal with Agatha, and then she carves her way out of the wall, which looks like it's a painting or something? I didn't really understand.
You know what I got from that?
Know
what I got from that? The Truman Show. Do you remember the Truman Show? Do you remember watching that movie?
I did. Yeah. I saw
how everything was fake.
Yeah.
I was like, she literally got her knife and cut through the tapestry of being on the road. And I'm like, wait a second. Yeah. This is what? Like, did she rip through the set backdrop? Like, production must be furious with her by doing that, by the way. I was thinking, oh my God, is this going to be like She-Hulk and breaking the fourth wall where, she addresses the camera or something? You know what I'm saying? That was extremely strange. Obviously, that's the nod to the lead up of none of this was real. This was completely created for Billy to embark on, because the road, never exists, because there was a line when Agatha and Rio were talking and basically said that, this whole thing doesn't really even exist. And Agatha stops her before she could reveal the truth of it all. I didn't understand, but it gave me Truman Show vibes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think about that at the time, but that's a good point. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Trisha,
Well,
thank you for backing me up here. Yeah, they did very little explaining. They allude to Rio and Agatha's relationship all season and then give zero backstory. I mean, 100%, even in the finale, no backstory. Why even bring it up if there's no backstory? Like, I don't get it.
yeah. Now we get back to the story in the show, and we see Billy and Jen. They rejoin Agatha. They're now at the end of the road. They discover that the road is a circle, which I know there are some people in the chat over the weeks that predicted that. So
Yeah.
congratulations to you. I didn't think that was going to be the answer, but what'd you think about that, Brittany?
It kind of reminded me of Loki, how time is an illusion, right? And how the Ouroboros, which, going into like mythology and what have you, it's the snake that is basically chasing its own tail. And so as, time ends, it also begins, et cetera, et cetera. That whole theme of just time is an illusion, because even at the end of this episode, we find out that Billy's been gone for 24 hours.
Yeah.
No concept of time existed while on the journey down the witch's road. So, like, I don't know, it kind of just reinforces that whole, what Lilia had said about time is an illusion, and most people don't even realize it.
Yeah. I should mention that the reason why they discovered, or how they discovered that the road is a circle, is they came upon their shoes that they left at the beginning. And Agatha actually tripped over the shoes. So then Billy's like, you know what? Screw it. Screw the road. Puts his shoes back on. Suddenly, all three, and I'm talking about Jen, Agatha, and Billy, are transported to some, like, I don't know.
Morgue?
Yeah, but it's also Agatha's basement. So
I
was
mean,
gonna say, it looked like something out of like X-Men. Like, looked like,
yeah, I can see that.
like, yeah. At first, that's what I thought it was. It's like, oh, what are we doing here? But then that's not what it was. Yeah. Right. Because that would have meant we would have got maybe somebody like this.
Oh my God, what is happening?
I've got to turn my my background off, I think, or something here.
You just got to reposition yourself.
There
we go.
You see me better? Here we go.
What is happening?
I don't know.
Why didn't you wear any of these at work today? It was so great.
Because work is not fun. Come on. Got to save it for the pod. The pod's what matters.
Okay. Fair enough. This is great, by the way.
If
y'all haven't done so already, give us a like on this video. Also, don't forget to subscribe.
We're begging for likes. Yeah.
Don't forget to subscribe while you're at it. We are currently at 415 subscribers. We want to keep growing our numbers, so help make that happen. Subscribe, like, and leave us a comment in the live chat if you're enjoying this review, while we've diverted away from Agatha for a second. But yeah,
okay. Trisha's got a comment. Where is Dogpool? Now, Brittany, you have a dog. You have the adorable corgi Luna.
Yeah.
Is she in the Dogpool costume?
She is not in the Dogpool costume.
Okay.
My dog remains to be all natural, a naked dog. She, if she doesn't have to wear a collar, she won't. So yeah, there's no way I'm putting clothes on that dog.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. So, while in Agatha's basement, which, like you said, looks like a morgue, we find out that, that Agatha's the witch who bound Jen 100 years ago. That's why she doesn't have powers. So she uses an unbinding spell. She basically just repeats, you hold nothing to Agatha while she has her. Is it Agatha's hair around her wrist, or is it?
It was. Yeah,
okay.
It was.
Okay.
Because apparently you have to use something personal from that person to perform the unbinding ritual, which is what basically Teen did when he encountered Agatha that very first time. He was trying to release her from that spell that she was under. So that's why he needed something personal. That's why he broke into the house. So yeah, it's the same idea. I didn't catch how many times she actually said the phrase you hold nothing, or you have nothing, or you something along those lines. But the fact that like Agatha was the one who bound Jen, and we get no Jen backstory. Like we've gotten backstories on all these other witches, and Jen is without. Like, why they done her wrong? Like, why they did my girl wrong? What the fuck?
However, I will point out Jen does survive. We do see her in both episodes of the final 2 episodes, and she flies away in episode 9. So,
I mean, I get it. She gets her power back,
right.
which is what she was hoping to get at the end of the Witch's Road. She gets her pink power. I love that. I love that she has pink power. Billy has blue. Agatha has purple. Yep. Rio has green. Alice had red, I think, or like a red orange kind of color. But here's my other question, Justin. And of course, I'm speaking ahead because we already know everything. The road isn't real. The road isn't real. How the hell did Agatha know, or just accept the fact that Jen would leave the road once she achieved whatever it was that she wanted most? Like, she just kind of accepted it. And I guess because she's under this falsehood of like, oh, I've survived the Witch's Road when the Witch's Road has never actually existed. But it leads to my other question of like, how the hell would Billy, not knowing that he created this road, this world, if you will, how did he like tap into all of their weaknesses like that? And the trials that showed all these witches different things, like reliving their horrors and things like that. Like how? Just how?
Very good question. I don't have an answer for you.
See, this is why these last few episodes don't land for me. It's like there's so many questions.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to episode 9, obviously, you know, Agatha was using the road as a con, as a way to get power, which that's what she was going to do with Jen and with all, you know, Alice and Lilia. So I don't know. Like, I mean, you're right. She does say that she thought that she would leave once she got her what she wanted, but you're right. How did she know she was going to get what she wanted? Because she knew it was a, but like, you know, she knew it was a con until it wasn't a con though. Like when the door finally appears under them in the first episode and they're on their way, like maybe that's when she really started to believe it.
But it doesn't exist. It never existed prior to teen Billy having created it. So like, how are you going to go with the flow? And because you wrote the song with your son, and basically the road is based, the ballad is based on, I'm sorry, the road is based on the ballad. Right. So it's like, okay, fine. But the way that things panned out the way that they did, it doesn't make any sense. Like it just, I don't know. It just doesn't. So I'm going to go to the chat. Trisha says, maybe Agatha never feared the road because she knew that teen thought highly of her. Trisha continues with, maybe the road is just what Billy thought it would be, a series of trials that tested each witch, but then the chaos magic filled in the blanks. I mean, yeah, that's possible because Billy would possess chaos magic that, you know, is from his mother, right? She possesses chaos magic. It's just lacking. Like it's ultimately just lacking. And I understand that Billy wouldn't know how to wield his power. That much was already said by Agatha after the first time he like revealed his true self to her. But it's still falling flat for me personally.
Okay. What'd you think about the scene with Billy and Agatha where they're trying to locate Tommy's soul? And they end up, you know, basically giving Tommy the body of a kid who's drowning. Like, what'd you think about that? Like, I thought that was kind of like. So did the kid drown and then they gave the soul to Tommy to the body, or was it as he's drowning? I wasn't clear about that.
It seemed like Agatha wanted him to try and find the next person that was going to die. She said that there like 120 people die like every minute or something like that. And so, you know, you're bound to locate someone. How he was able to even try to do that, I guess maybe it's similar to his ability to read minds and feelings because of the feelings are so intense. And so for this kid, wherever that kid was, being able to have that great amount of fear because you just got pranked, you're being held underwater. Yeah, you're adrenaline is sky high, and you're about to die. So, and I'm not familiar with what Wiccan's powers are from the comics, and I'm not trying to rely too much from the comics because it seems like with these shows they just kind of like do their own spin of things.
Yeah.
So if in this adaptation Wiccan is able to read people, read feelings, and what have you, and he can hone in on that, then that's why he was able to locate someone who was about to die. Therefore, he was guiding Tommy, who's in this kind of sort of probably astral state of being, into that body. But like what Rio said, that if Tommy were to not Tommy, if Billy were to die or something like that, he's just going to reincarnate to the next person. So it seems like these two beings can like just jump it wherever they want to, and that's why it's hard to like hone in on them,
Right.
because of their own abilities. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. I got no basis to support everything that I just said. I'm just flying off the seat of my pants. So
yeah.
But yes, like Trisha said, the whole scene was so confusing with Tommy. So, but what we did get from it, or at least we understand from it, is that Billy was able to guide Tommy into a body. We don't know where that person may be, how far they may be. And yeah, that just, sure.
Yeah. Well, to me, the next part was a little bit more confusing. Was Agatha gets the locket out, and in the locket, she has a little bit of Nikki's hair. But then there's also something else. Was that an eyelash? Or what was it?
It is a part of like the dandelion. So like I don't know what the like specific parts of the dandelion,
Okay.
the little weed thing that you can blow and it flies off into the air.
Gotcha.
It's one of those little particles from like a dandelion. And I don't know if that was always there, but probably I guess when completing this trial, because she aided Billy in trying to guide Tommy or whatever it was that he wanted from the end of the road, because Billy disappeared after that. All right, she was just left alone because Billy asked that question of, "Why am I killing this boy so that my brother can live?" And then they release, and he's gone. And Agatha simply says that, no, Billy, sometimes boys just die. And that's obviously very personal to her. We don't know the full weight of that comment until the next episode. But that's when she goes to the locket, pulls out the hair, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. So we pick up from that where, like I said, she plants the flower, or the flower grows in the crack in the floor, and the trial is complete. Now she is in the backyard where Rio is there waiting for her. I thought that was one of the better Rio lines, where she's like cackling. She's like, "Congratulations, my love." And then she says, trying to kill her off. She's like, "How about death by 1,000 cuts?" Sends a bunch of glass, cuts up her face and arms and all over her body.
Mm-hmm.
Then we see the neighbors looking on, and it's also like kind of like a WandaVision scenario where they don't see death. They don't see Rio up there. They just I don't know. Do they even show? Do they see Agatha? Because I don't know if they showed that.
I think they're seeing from the front of the house, and everything was happening in the back of the house. So, but they see the dark clouds, and they see the lightning and the whatever, some sort of activity happening above the house. And that one guy, he just looks at it and he's like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Man, y'all's PTSD must be sky high right now," because I know mine would have been.
Yeah, it's time to move out of Westview. I mean,
A little bit.
even just go to Eastview. It's not very far away. Just
No.
safer there.
Well, maybe.
Maybe. Well, you're right. You're right.
I mean, Bill, that's where Billy lives, so I don't know. I don't know about that statement anymore.
Yeah, that's what Trisha says. Can we talk about why these Westview neighbors still live here?
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
for real. Yeah. Sorry, I'm doing our plugins just bear with me, y'all. Yeah, like and follow. You know the drill. So yeah, Trisha, can we talk about these Westview neighbors still live here? I don't know. Like New Jersey. I don't know. Y'all tell me.
We know someone who lives in New Jersey though.
We do. I wish she was in the chat to talk about the episodes, but maybe she's watching the episodes and then will join us. We'll see. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
It's Halloween night though. Maybe she's out trick or treating.
That you know what? Everyone celebrates their own way.
Yeah.
Once again, everyone, happy Halloween. Thank you for joining us for today's pod.
Yeah. We see Agatha. She's trying to, I guess it's like a protection spell. I guess she's trying to expel evil, which offends Death, aka Rio. She's like, "You're calling me evil?" She's like, "I'm the natural order of all things, and you love me." And then we get the line of, and who was it that told Agatha, like, when she calls you a coward, hit the deck?
Lilia.
Okay. I couldn't remember exactly who said that, because then we see a large object out flying through the house. I don't know if it's like
it was a sink.
Okay. It happened very quickly. I wasn't sure if it was a sink. I was sure it was like a refrigerator, but it was something large that was coming at Agatha. She hit the deck, like Lilia told her. She survives. Then we get Billy's dramatic return to the battle as Wiccan. He's got the full costume. He's got the glowing powers.
I was talking right there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Billy was able to overpower Death in that moment and like knock her off her ass. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You're talking about Death, who is the original Green Witch, which we learned in this episode that the green craft is a cycle of all living things, both life and decay. So it makes sense that, Rio would be the Green Witch or whatever, and she is Lady Death. But the fact that he was able to overpower her, and if it's because the fact that he possesses chaos magic to some degree, I mean, I don't know, but even like the showdown, whether the two of them, Agatha and Rio, which by the way, I expected a little bit more between their two showdown. Like I figured like, okay, this who's going to be the big boss, like that has to be fought. And I was like, I expected a little bit more. I actually did expect a couple of the Salem 7 to like actually have survived and show up and try to take down Agatha too. That way she's got like all these things happening and what have you. Wiccan's reveal was pretty cool. I was like, oh, okay, he can fly, dun, 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 dun. But I couldn't believe how easily he could overpower Death. And whether it's because they were pulling punches, if you will, because she obviously wanted him. She made that bargain with Agatha to say that kid has to come with me. And Agatha's like, okay, well, I'll set it up. You collect him and be on your merry way.
Yeah.
Interesting, Trisha, here in the chat, she says, but Lady Death can't kill Wiccan according to this story. So that is true. You're right. I failed to mention that or remember that. So, okay. I don't know. I mean, Agatha, I understand her pulling her punches because she's trying to sway Billy to make the ultimate sacrifice and what have you. And that way she gets out of her deal, or she gets, what am I trying to say? My brain just like stopped.
Yeah.
That way she can get Death to stop following her around and pursuing her. And she's like, and when my time comes, you will you won't be there. I won't see your face ever again.
Yeah. Yeah. But first Agatha gets her purple back. She gets the power from Billy. He powers her up. And then you think they're going to take on Rio, but no. Agatha's ready now to give Billy up.
This is futile, she says.
Yeah.
God.
But then he convinces her to give herself up by mentioning Nikki, her son, which we get a lot more information about in the next episode.
So, okay, let me stop you.
Go for it.
I'm going to pose this question. When Billy selflessly gave his power or some of his power to Agatha's now in possession of chaos magic, right? Albeit very temporary.
Yeah, good point.
I was like, is this a good idea? Like, is this really a good idea? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm looking over here in the chat, Justin. Trisha says, I think she can't kill him because he is not a normal born being. He was made of magic. So I think that's why she needs him to surrender himself. Okay, that's plausible. I think ultimately it's Mephisto who wants Wiccan and Lady of Death just doing his bidding. Well, we did get one mention of Mephisto in this series. It also didn't pan out anywhere with the finale. I don't know. I was kind of hoping that maybe we would see an appearance of Mephisto with the Lady Death and Agatha showdown, but nope.
No, I think these shows have taught, if they taught us anything, it's to temper expectations. Like, people thought maybe Wanda would return. It's like, no, that's not going to happen. Like going forward with these shows, like the shows are what they are. Like it's very rare that you get some major cameo or some big return. That's just not, it's not what they're really meant to do. They're meant to tell the story about the title character. So
very well. Okay.
So we get the kiss of death. We get like a nice kind of make out kiss between Agatha and Rio. And then Agatha dies in slow motion, which I thought was a very cool shot, which is actually a shot that I've seen a couple times in commercials for the other villains on Disney Plus. I don't know if you've seen that commercial, Brittany, but the one, it's like Thanos and Darth Vader, and they show Agatha and they show her death scene. And she's like flying up in the air and falling back.
It's very
pretty
dramatic.
Cool. Look pretty cool. Yeah.
Very Agatha, very dramatic.
Yep. But then as she hits the ground, she turns into purple flowers in the grass. And then Billy picks up the locket. What's your take on this?
Cool.
Okay.
Like, okay, this whole buildup, the showdown that I was let down with, he comes in to try to save her. He gives up his power, or a good portion of his power. I wager because of how sunken his face looked after she cut him off. But because obviously she had the intention of taking the power. That's how she obtains power. She had the bargain with death. She just needed him to willingly give himself up to her. And then when she reveals the whole thing, he's like, he speaks to her through his mind and is like, is this how Nikki died? And it stops her. She turns around, plants a big one on Rio, and then dies. I'm like, that's all it took? Are you kidding me? That's all it took. Like the mere mention of Nikki is all it took. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, I'm a really horrible person if I do this. I let someone else die just so that I can live.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
I mean, it's kind of true to the character though, right? I mean, like that she's a villain to the end. I mean, even when she's comes back as a ghost, she's not like she's still kind of villainous, right? Looking out for herself.
Well, yeah, she's a covenless witch.
Yeah.
It's very Agatha's okay. I love Kathryn Hahn's like adaptation of Agatha, but Agatha is just a horrible person. She's a horrible person. She's a horrible being. Horrible. It made no sense. Okay, I'm gonna say it again. It made no sense. Clap, clap, clap. I just don't. These episodes frustrated me, Justin. They absolutely.
I can tell. I'm starting to see your point of view.
Good.
Yeah. What'd you think about when Rio tells Billy he's free to leave, and then you kind of get him? Well, okay, so you talk about that, but also the fact that she let him go. Talk about that, but also just the parallels between the way he leaves Westview and the way that Wanda leaves Westview and WandaVision. What did you think?
Yes. Parallels, they're there. He's Wanda's son. Okay. Rio is the end all be all. Yeah. Life begins and death. She's all of these things, right? It's the natural cycle of things.
Right.
She made it a point to tell Agatha at the beginning of this episode that he was an abomination, that he was disrupting the sacred balance. But she lets him go. I mean, she wanted one or the other. Death, let me clarify myself. Death wanted either Agatha or Billy to go with her. And I'm like, that totally contradicted your whole statement of him being an abomination and disrupting the sacred balance of life. But you let him go?
She made a deal.
But he's still an abomination. The deal was not to pursue him. It was for Agatha to be rid of death. She's like, when I die, and honey, it was not a long time like you said it was going to be. Good Lord.
Yeah.
And this is the reason why I feel she came back as a ghost. The bargain that she made with Rio was, when I die, I don't see your face. You're going to stop pursuing me. Like, I will not see your face ever again. And because Rio is death and is supposed to guide everyone through the veil, if you will, Death wasn't there to guide Agatha. Because Agatha said, I don't want to see your face again. So she's in limbo, if you will. And usually, I think throughout history is that ghosts exist because they have unfinished business. Well,
Right.
Agatha, she may or may not, but I think that's part of the reason as to why she is still here. It's because she told Death to F off. I don't know. Yeah. It's just a theory. I appreciate it, Trisha. Thank you for enjoying my
solid theory. Yeah, solid theory. So let's wrap up the episode. We got Billy returns back to Eastview, back to his parents' home. Parents loosely. You've
been gone for 24 hours.
Right. He goes in his
room.
No
explanation.
Yeah. Goes in his room. He starts to realize a lot of the things in his room, in his bedroom, the Lorna Wu poster. He sees the Wicked Witch of the West figure. He sees the shoes from the
tree.
The tree, all these things. He starts to realize
painting of the house or the land or whatever.
Yeah. All of this stuff was in the road. So he starts to wonder, like, what's going on. And then we hear Agatha laughing. And then Billy starts saying, it was me. And then we see, she says, boo. He screams. Episode ends. Now, Brittany, obviously you didn't enjoy this episode, but do you think it would have been better if they would have given it a week? Like, had they ended on that cliffhanger? Now, I like the idea that it ended in time for Halloween. That was smart. But maybe the show should have started a week earlier, or maybe, episodes 3 and 4 could have been packaged together or something. But do you think, had they given it another week to breathe, would that have been better, worse, no different?
I don't think it would have made a difference for me personally, just because if the finale was still intended to be what we got, it was like, that should have been the finale. I mean, that could have been the finale. The penultimate could have been the finale. And then the finale is actually just like the prologue. Right. But even because that's what it reads to me. Right. I do feel like they should have blended those two episodes together in such a way. Where you're getting the backstory. I feel like it was the backstory on Agatha and Nikki was overemphasized. Over dramatized. Like, we get it. You're a con artist. You scammed all these other witches. You used your son as bait to do so. And I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but like, that could have, kind of been shortened. But I don't think it would have made any difference at all whatsoever for me. And Trisha says, I don't think it would have been any better. If I had to wait a week for that last episode, I probably would have been even more disappointed. So where do you lie with this, Justin? Do you think that giving it some breathing room would have made audiences feel
I think that
semi-different?
Clearly, I haven't thought this through as well as y'all have. Like, I'll be very honest. But also to me, a lot of times when magic is a key part of the story, it's just kind of like wavy your hand kind of stuff. Like, magic kind of makes anything possible, right? So for me, that's kind of my answer. Like, it can be, this is all make-believe stuff. And to me, magic is like one of the most make-believe things ever. And so when you interject magic, you can do whatever you want. And I'm not going to get super bent out of shape, So I do see what you're saying. I think there's a lot of holes in this finale, these final 2 episodes. I just think because I do think the end of the episode was kind of a cliffhanger, kind of a, mix it up. So because of that, I think that, giving it a week to breathe would have made that have more emphasis. Now, granted, giving it a week might have given people more time to poke holes in it, which sounds like is what is happening. So
I have another thought.
okay.
If this was going to be renewed for season 2, which it's not going to be the way the story ended.
Right.
The penultimate could have been the finale, leaves you on that big of a cliffhanger. And then the finale could have actually been the season premiere of season 2 or of whatever show they're going to continue with. If it's going to be about Wiccan, that could have been the setup for the new series that revolves around Wiccan or whatever. I think that would have been maybe a little bit better. It needed to have been separated. It either needed two things. Okay. If it's going to stay with Agatha, it needed to have been molded into just one giant episode.
Right.
And the story could have been told better, or separate it and then let that be the premiere of a new series.
I like the idea of blending the two together. I think that would have made for a better finale, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It could have. It could have, but they chose not to do it that way. And it's like, well.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the 9th episode, and because it's a new episode, I'm gonna new mask, same task, and the task is still to host the podcast. But I'm got a new mask on. Here we go. Got my Iron Man mask on, which is even harder to see out of, but it's more secure than the other two. So here we go.
You're a little muffled too with your speech, but
can you hear me at all?
Yeah, we can hear you, but it's a little bit more like like this,
Yeah. So the episode is Maiden Mother Crone. That's the title. Starts out 1750. We see Agatha give birth to Nicholas, but she's warned that death will eventually take him. But the thing is like, did death really take him, or was it because he was a sickly kid?
It's one of the other problems of this episode, Justin.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about Agatha and Death's relationship, how they met, what was their relationship like, what was the bargain, aside from the only thing I can offer is time. Okay, but like, what do you want in return? Is it you go and kill all these people, all these witches, you use your son as bait, you kill all these witches, and I collect the bodies, and you get to live, and you get to have power, and you get to have time with your son? Like, I don't understand. Like, I just don't understand.
Yeah. No, good points. Fair points. I love Iron Man, but like this mask ain't working, so I'm gonna mix it up. I'm gonna go with something else, something more comfortable, something I'm more used to. This is something I wear around the house anyway.
Oh God, if it's Spider-Man. There we go.
Captain America. There we go.
This is a good look. I like it.
This is mine. Yeah.
This is
good
look.
I've got some props here. I've got Thor's hammer. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, hard to see.
He's worthy, y'all.
Yeah,
he caught it. He caught it on camera.
I did. Yeah, that was years ago, but I did catch it. Now you can see a little bit better. There we go.
Much better.
There we go. Got the hammer. Cool stuff. Going back to the episode. So we see her give birth. Then, she says like, she makes the point that, I spoke no spell. I said no incantation. You were made from scratch, which I guess explains his last name being Nicholas Scratch.
That boy came from somewhere, unless he's Marvel Jesus. Just saying.
Yeah, that it was interesting to like, is there going to be a father? Are they going to talk about who the father of this child is? But I guess like there was no father. He just
again, Marvel Jesus.
Immaculate Conception, I guess.
There you go.
Then we Agatha start to spin her con, where they come up with the song, and of course originally the song is walk, walk, walk the road, walk the windy road. Nicholas helps her come up with the song. She uses the song as a way to, get power from witches. She's which I did like that part of it. I did like the con of it. I really enjoyed the scene later on in the episode when they're singing the song, right? And it shows over the years all the time she's had all these covens and all these people she's killed to get their power. I thought that was a cool, like,
yeah, that's a great shot. sure.
one of the better scenes in the last 2 episodes.
I agree. Yeah, but she uses her son as bait to steal from other witches who chase after him, and Agatha claims their power because they're blasting her, and she absorbs it. But Nicholas obviously feels some type of way about it. He's a 6-year-old little boy, and trying to understand why his mother does this, and she's like, to survive, and he's like, but can we just like not do that? That's a hard concept for a child to understand, especially in that time.
He's like, could we just stay with the witches and survive with them? Like, do we have to kill them? Yeah.
Right. And that obviously goes to show like how horrible of a person Agatha was, like truly living up to the whole, like, all she cares about really is herself and power and living, if you will. Right. Yeah. And it came at a cost. It came at the cost of her son, whom should have died at birth. Right. And, or maybe even before he was born, because of the encounter that Agatha had with Rio. And one thing, because we're talking about obviously Nicholas, in the second episode, I believe, of the series, Jen talks to Teen, pulls him aside, and talks to him about, you need to be careful about Agatha. Rumor is that she gave up her son in order to get the Darkhold. Yeah. And, rumors is that he's an agent from Mephisto. Rumor is that he's dead. Rumor is that she wouldn't recognize him if he walked up on her doorstep. And that didn't pay off, in the sense of, why mention about the Darkhold when you actually never found out how she got the Darkhold?
Yeah.
So that was kind of, I don't know, dumb.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I'm telling you, Justin, there's problems. There's problems.
There's definitely problems. Yeah. I still think though this show is still better than a lot of the other shows.
It's not about like quality, production and things like that. I think aesthetically it looked great, but like when you're storytelling and then you're not completing that story, yeah, it's a problem.
Yeah. So in the present, Agatha becomes a ghost. And she basically tells Billy that he created the road, which he was kind of starting to put together himself. And she tells him, like, the road wasn't real until he made it real, which I thought was a good line. Like that. I did like the part about he created the road. I thought that was, given that his mother is Wanda, like how she created the hex in Westview. Like I did like that symmetry. Like using those two characters, yeah.
And again, what Lilia had told Billy in the reading during that last trial of hers, that he was a magician, that he had the potential to turn all of his dreams or whatever into a reality. So he's powerful.
Yeah.
He's pretty freaking powerful. So I mean, he's like that of his mother, and like I said, both of them didn't realize that they were doing the illusions and such until it started turning into a problem or that kind of thing. And for Billy, it's like, did I killed all these people, because of something that I concocted that never existed, and I got you involved. I got you, Agatha, involved, and we got all these other witches involved, and now they're dead. And, she does try to kind of comfort him and say, well, Alice protected, she protected, Lilia chose. And then he's like, what about Sharon?
Yeah.
She's like, who?
Ooh, yeah.
God,
they kept that joke going throughout the whole season.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry if I fast forward a little bit, but
no, it's okay. And basically, she said she was going to kill them all anyway. That's what Agatha's point was. That my plan was to kill them all that day in the basement anyway. So
right, because you start seeing that sequence of how she was conning all these other witches and singing the ballad, and you flash back and forth between time of old, and then
Mhm.
when they were in her basement and what have you. And it's like, oh, cool, we get to see all these women again. But then it's like, oh, they're still all dead.
Yeah.
You know?
But I did
Um,
like the fact that, like, Agatha was surprised to see the door actually appear because
yeah,
she's done this routine, hundreds of times probably or more, and then this is the one time where it actually happens, obviously because Billy made it happen.
yeah.
But I did like the surprise, the look on her face, and just, going back to was that episode 1 or episode 2? One of the first 2. I think it was episode 2
It was the
because
end of episode 1. Nope,
because the
2,
first 2 episodes
something.
they dropped the first episodes the same date.
Yeah, I
So,
know, but I
yeah,
think it was the end of
it
I
was
think it was
3.
the end of episode 2.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I did like the call back to that. I did like seeing her face, her reaction to seeing the door. All that stuff was great.
Yeah.
They reference, Jen, which then cue outside of Westview, right by the sign for Westview, the famous Westview sign. We see Jen kind of dig herself out of the ground and then use her powers to fly away.
Mhm.
Will we see her again? Maybe, maybe not. Like I said, we've mentioned a couple ways where she could return, maybe in Vision Quest, maybe in a Doctor Strange movie,
I'm
maybe in a
still
Wanda movie.
I'm still upset that she didn't get a story. Like
Yeah.
she didn't get an episode in the sense of, a backstory.
But
Like,
she does have a future with potentially. She's still alive. So
let's hope. I really liked
I
her. I
I
really
think that
liked her
maybe that
character.
was the trade-off where, I mean, in fairness, like Alice and Lilia and Sharon, they didn't get a ton. I mean, they like Lilia had a great moment. I think Alice did
So good.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean
So
they had stories. Like we already knew about Sharon because of obviously what had happened with, Wanda Vision and what have you. So and not to disregard her. She wasn't a witch,
yeah,
but I don't know.
yeah,
There's so many problems now. There's just so many problems.
yeah.
I'm going to go over to the chat real quick. Justin, Trisha asked,
Mhm.
so do we think that teen spell book will become the new Darkhold? That's a great question. And I'm going to answer that by saying no. I don't think that will possess the same knowledge and magic that the Darkhold once did.
Mhm.
And because of what Wanda did in Multiverse of Madness, there are no other like copies of the Darkhold because the temple itself was, destroyed. So I don't think there's any way that he could actually like get any of that information and put it in his little spell book. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's a good guess. I mean, I really don't know. We'll wait to see on that. But good
Or it
question.
might not go anywhere, you know?
It might not. You're right. It might not. It very well might not. Yes,
Ugh.
that's always a possibility,
Mhm.
especially lately. Yeah.
Mhm.
So Billy returns to the house and he tries to banish Agatha. And then she basically says like she's afraid of dying because she's afraid to face Nicholas, which Nicholas is the son that died.
Let me tell
So
you, not mother of the year, that one.
right,
Mm.
right.
Horrible
So then
person, horrible mother.
yeah. So Billy decides not to banish her. She's gonna remain as a ghost, and she's gonna be his guide as they go out to find Tommy.
Yeah. So I'm gonna try to find the chat that I'm in with Christian and Trisha, um, because we were talking about this after I finished watching the episode, and it's like we all had thoughts, we all had mixed feelings and what have
Yeah.
you, um, and it's just like Billy goes to banish Agatha and then instantly forgives her for her transgressions. Like, dude, she's betrayed you how many times, and you're just gonna forgive her? And I'm like, yeah, he's such a Maximoff teenager. Like that's just kind of their MO,
Yeah.
that's what they do.
Yeah. Well, that's the hero, right?
Uh,
That's the eternal good
yeah.
guy, right?
But then I also have a
Um,
question. She
okay.
she comes back to she comes back for reasons, right? We still don't fully understand the reasons. Billy interprets it as, oh, you're going to be like my spirit guide as we go on the next journey and blah, blah, blah. But she wants back her locket that Billy took from from when she died, right? And she's trying to get it from him, and because she is a ghost and what have you, she can't, grab the tangible thing itself. And then she can. What?
Well, she said it took some practice. She's a quick learner, so.
Okay, sure. I mean, can we say she still has magic even though she's a ghost?
I mean,
No.
I don't know. I don't know the rules of being a ghost. Like I don't know the rules of being a ghost in the MCU.
I just feel like there's just loose ends. I don't like loose ends.
Is she a Force ghost? Who knows?
Is she a Force ghost?
Yeah.
Is she a Skywalker?
It's all she might be.
Oh, God.
If I ask her name, it's not Harkness, it's Skywalker. Agatha Skywalker. I did like how they closed the door to the road and they engraved the names of Sharon, Alice, and Lilia on the door. Thought that was a nice touch. I did like the last kind of quote was, one door closes, another one opens, and then let's go find Tommy. So wouldn't it be better if they're like, let's fucking go find Tommy? And then like Deadpool Wolverine.
They jump out of the door.
Right.
Well, only Billy, I guess.
The portal. And then somehow they can be in the next Deadpool Wolverine movie.
Yeah.
It would work. Something else I wanted to point out, no mid-credit or post-credit scene in this series, which is very rare for an MCU project. What did you think about that?
I mean, I noticed it and I figured, okay, well, that's probably because it's not going to lead anywhere.
Yeah.
So far, I'm right. I'm going to take that as a W. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. So Trisha here in the chat says it just feels like the last two episodes had a completely different writer with different ideas. Yeah. Yeah. I think ultimately what the word is, Justin, is that the ending was disjointed.
Yeah.
With the rest of the series. It almost could have just been its own spinoff at that point.
I wondered, I was just thinking about this with the strikes that happened, both the writer and acting strike. Mm-hmm. I bet this was probably finished at post strike, the final two episodes. In fact, probably half the season was, I would venture to guess.
Are we always going to use that excuse?
No. I'm not saying an excuse, but I'm saying it's a reason why maybe it didn't work as well. You know what I mean? Like maybe they overthought it. They had too much time on their hands and I don't know. Again, I'm not giving them an excuse. I just think it could be part of why it didn't fit with the rest of the season.
I don't know. I just feel like they just quickly dropped the journey, the road, and then they just moved on to something completely different. Which is why I say that the finale, this series finale or season finale, should have been the beginning of either a second season or a completely different series. That way it just ties back into something. Like if this is meant for just like Marvel television and it's not meant to have any tie into like the movies or anything else in the MCU, then like that would have been a great way to make it make sense and keep it grounded, if you will. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. We have GB here in the chat. Appreciate you being here. We are left to wonder if Vision was recreated in WandaVision and Wiccan 2 was created from Wanda. It seems like we haven't seen the end of the Darkhold. I mean, I just don't know where those copies may exist, because even in Agatha's, show, if you will, from the beginning of this series, is that she went to the library and like the shelf that she went to had destroyed books, and that's, to me, was the Darkhold,
Yeah.
And we know that the Darkhold, the source of it, the temple, if you will, what was it called? Wandagore? Something like that.
Yeah, yeah, there you go.
The Scarlet Witch destroyed it. So if the source file, I say source files, God, like I'm at work. If the source doesn't exist, then the copies won't exist.
Maybe she created a PDF out of it or something.
Oh,
like who knows? Who knows? It could be out there.
Never escape work here. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't. I don't know. I mean, I can kind of understand where you guys are saying like it's going to be like a new form of the Darkhold. I just don't think it'll ever possess the same amount of knowledge that the Darkhold had. But I don't. Where does this fall in the timeline of Multiverse of Madness? I think it's going to be well after, because the question Billy poses to Agatha is Wanda Maximoff dead?
Yeah.
And Agatha is like, yes. And then she smiles. No. She's like, I don't know. Like, there's, it does take place after Multiverse of Madness. We just don't know the exact like time frame, if it's, immediately after, or if it's, months down the road, or, years or whatever. Which leads me back to a question that Trisha had asked earlier about Wanda. Do we think that her body, that was her body that Agatha saw in the first two or the first episode?
I don't think so.
I think it was just kind of placed there just to create buzz.
Well, but you got to remember, in that first episode, she's in this like her own make-believe
illusion,
TV show where she's this this cop. So like nothing else was real in that. So as they showed the picture, like the picture was just of like leaves on the ground, right? So
yeah, it was like a yard. Because Agatha was like pretty much confined to the house. I think it was very rare if she ever actually like physically left it. You know what I mean? We thought that she was out driving a car. No, the car was a makeshift, DIY thing in her dining room or something. So she was living in her literal own world. Like I said, there's just many holes. There's many holes. And I was enjoying this series. Okay, let me rephrase that. I enjoyed this series.
Yeah.
The last two episodes just fell flat for me and didn't really tie up those loose ends that I think I was expecting, because we were given such great episode after episode after episode and building on the story. And then it's like, woof, they went into left field.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So Brittany, let me ask you, I'm going to run through there's 11 MCU TV shows on Disney Plus.
Geez.
I want to kind of get your, kind of ballpark where you see Agatha all along kind of fitting in. So the first show that came out, WandaVision 2021, that was followed up by The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Then we got the first season of Loki. Season 2 of Loki came in 2023.
Yeah.
Then also in 2021, we had the first season of What If. Season 2 came last year, 2023.
Which I thought was actually even better than the first season.
I agree. We had the first season of Hawkeye, or the only season of Hawkeye, 2021. Then in 2022, we had Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, and She-Hulk. In 2023, we had Secret Invasion. And this year, we've had Echo and Agatha all along. So with all the shows I mentioned, I know maybe I mentioned them a little too quickly, but where would you say that Agatha all along kind of sits in your mind if you had to rank them?
If I had to rank them, which I'm not going to, because there are a lot. We've talked about
what's
this
your top
times.
2 or 3? Yeah.
That's also hard to say. But where I would place Agatha, I would say like middle, but like towards the top.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I loved the amount of practical effects, practical sets, practical like everything that they were doing throughout this show. And it wasn't like they were solely in front of a green screen or solely using the volume and that kind of thing. Like they went back to more like authentic, practical, like when, WandaVision, they were doing the TV show type styles. That's how TV shows were done back in the day. Obviously, very practical and what have you. I mean, still they do it the same to a degree, but that's what I really enjoyed in terms of like quality, the aesthetic, what we were getting for the story in the first 7 episodes. Like I said, for me personally, the last 2 episodes just didn't land. They didn't hit for me, which is really sad to say, because I thought the cast was incredible. I will still say I will put it middle, but towards the top. Does it break top 5? It might, or it might just be, between number 6 and 10.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, there's 11. Okay, so
there's 11. Yeah, there's 11
okay.
shows.
So so let me rephrase it. Instead of it'll be close to top 3, but it'll probably be ranking between 4 and 6. Let's put it that way.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of there for me. I think it might be like number 3. I still have Loki number 1. I think WandaVision's number 2. I think this is probably number 3. I mean, honestly, reading off this list and look at these titles again, like I like a lot of these shows. In fact, the only one I truly did not enjoy was Secret Invasion.
Yeah, that one was really tough.
Everything else I kind of liked. I mean, like I thought Moon Knight, there were parts of it that I wasn't really into.
I enjoyed Moon Knight. I thought that was a great show.
The first season of What If was okay. The second season was really good. By the way, the final season is coming up in just a few months. We're going to talk about that here in a second. The Falcon and Winter Soldier, that was obviously, I'm a big Captain America fan. That was my most anticipated, most excited for.
That was another one where, because the story had to change. That was like, this is pulling a Star Wars right now.
The story wasn't great, but like I don't think it was like a bad show. So I enjoyed Hawkeye. I mean, I remember we did a review on Hawkeye back when it came out. Christmas
was
2021.
Good. It was entertaining.
It was solid. Yeah. I thought She-Hulk was funny. I think Miss Marvel is.
I enjoyed Miss Marvel more than I thought I was.
Good. Had some really strong episodes. So like, none of this stuff has really been that bad, except for Secret Invasion, where it's just like, even the first couple episodes of that were fine, but then it really kind of fell off a cliff. So I don't think these shows are as bad as people want to kind of portray them to be or paint them out to be. The movie's the same way. Like, yes, I mean, have they put out a lot of great? I mean, since Endgame, has it been awesome? No, it hasn't been awesome. But there was a lot of stuff before Endgame that wasn't awesome. Also, it's just they had these really big moments that people will never forget. These huge movies.
Yeah.
Kind of every 3 or 4 movie would be a massive film, and it kind of made everything else work. And they haven't done that in the multiverse saga, and that's been the issue. So. And they haven't connected the stories yet.
And then the shakeup, obviously, with Jonathan Majors and what was happening with his personal life and how that impacted his career and therefore his character Kang. They had to scrap that altogether. They have to pivot. There's a lot. Unfortunately, this phase was not having a good phase.
No, I mean, there were lots of things. We've talked about it many times. They expanded really fast. It's like they're rebuilding after Endgame, but then they're also expanding, which is not a good recipe for trying to continue with a, cohesive storyline. Like you just added so many new characters and they're not really connected in any way. So that's the task they have at hand. But they have Avengers movies coming up where they're going to connect all these people in theory. So, I think the future is still looking good for Marvel. And speaking of the future, I want to talk about that teaser that apparently Brittany has not seen yet.
Sorry.
Yeah. So it hypes up the fact that Deadpool and Wolverine is coming to Disney Plus on November 12th. So very shortly it'll be on streaming. I bought it the second it was available on digital. Like literally the second I counted down to buy it. So I've had it for a while. Love that movie. As I mentioned, What If is coming in on December 22nd of this year, right in time for the holidays. Just like last year, it's going to be a daily release. So there's going to be a daily episode every day up until probably the end of the year. I don't know if it's going to be 8 episodes, 9 episodes, maybe 10 episodes, but we will be talking about that. Brittany, you and I did the review of that last year as well. So we'll be doing that again, I would assume.
Yep.
Then it goes to 2025. The first thing in 2025 on Disney Plus is Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which is an animated Spider-Man show, which does not look like it's connected to the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies at all.
Okay.
So I think that's actually a good move. It's just going to be kind of like it's going to be a Marvel animation show, much like X-Men 97, that doesn't have any connection to the MCU, which I think there's plenty of room to do that. Change it up, do different things. Then March 4th, this is the one I think you're the most anticipated thing for you. Daredevil Born Again. There's a lot of clips from that. How excited are you about seeing Daredevil? Basically, Daredevil season 4 is going to be on Disney Plus coming March 4th. Yeah.
I'm so excited. I am so excited to see Charlie Cox reprise his role as Daredevil. The fact that they were getting the original cast all together again. That show, I was a late bloomer when watching that show, but I binged it like a couple of years ago and have zero regrets other than the fact that I didn't jump on the bandwagon sooner. Oh, I'm so excited. And if rumors are to be true and stories are to be true, that they're keeping with the same grittiness. They're keeping with the same, vibe of it all. And if not, they've amped it up a little bit. I think Vincent D'Onofrio who plays Kingpin, and he has a huge role in the Daredevil series. I think he even came out saying like he couldn't even believe that the showrunners and people allowed him or them, the cast, to do the things that they were able to do with the story and what have you. So I'm hoping it's not, an oversell. What's the overpromise and undersell kind of situation?
Right,
Like I'm
right,
hoping that's
right.
not going to be the case.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, I love me some Daredevil. I'm here for it. Show me all the Charlie Cox. Yes.
Okay. Before we move on, Trisha had a couple questions. I want to talk about this first one. She mentions, where does the Guardians Christmas special fit into your series list? Okay.
Ooh.
So I don't consider it a series because it's a special, just like Werewolf by Night is a special.
That was good.
But if I were just considering all things on Disney Plus, Guardians Christmas special is right up there with Loki for me. It was excellent. It was really fun. I'll probably watch that again this year, just for fun, because I really enjoyed that special. Brittany, and we reviewed the special when it came out. How would you place that amongst the other Disney Plus Marvel stuff?
Guardians?
Yeah, Guardians Christmas special.
Up until the third movie came out, that was easily my favorite Guardians. I'm not a Guardians fan. I'm sorry. I don't know. I can't quite pinpoint it other than the fact that I just don't care for Chris Pratt as an actor. Like, I think he does Star-Lord very well, but I just don't care for him. It's the same. I feel the same way about Ben Affleck. There's just, I just don't like the guy. But Guardians Holiday Special was number one for me in terms of the Guardians trilogy. But then the third movie came out and I was blown away by that movie. Very difficult movie to watch. I will not rewatch it ever again, but the storytelling was incredible. And, but Guardians Holiday Special was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. That I'll rewatch. I really enjoyed it. Shame all you want, Trisha. It's fine. It's okay. It's okay to be wrong, but it's fine.
And back to Daredevil, Trisha had another question about, are we going to do a rewatch of Daredevil? So Trisha says, I haven't seen the series yet. Well, guess what, Trisha? I haven't either. I've only watched the first 10 episodes, and there are 3 seasons of this show. So I am going to be watching it for the first time. We won't be doing a podcast about it. I don't think we're going to have time to do that. Well, we will be reviewing Daredevil Born Again once it starts. So we might do maybe we'll do a season wrap up, maybe the first 3 seasons. We might do a podcast of that. We haven't planned it out yet, but
listen, if we get Frank involved, he actually might want to do a rewatch to gear up for the premiere of Daredevil.
Right, but not a rewatch review on the pod, I don't think.
Probably not. If anything, it could just be like
the seasons,
season
or maybe
season 2, season 3, yeah.
Maybe the first 3 seasons in a nutshell. Maybe we could do that.
No, there's no way we can do that in a nutshell.
No way?
No. There's too much happening.
I think we could.
No, Justin, I've watched it. There's too much happening.
Okay, well, I'll be watching it for the first time, and I will be trying to get through all of the Defenders shows for the first time. So we'll see if I can do it before March.
Yeah. Yes. GB, you're right. That is a lot of cocks. I love the innuendos and all that stuff. Trisha, so yes, I'm all for the group chat thing. Justin sadly doesn't believe in Instagram, so it's probably just going to be
I believe we have an Instagram account, but I don't use Instagram.
But Justin is an older millennial who does not want to use social media, which I respect.
Thanks for throwing me under the bus there with the age thing. So
hey,
I'm the man.
You can do this.
Okay?
You can do this all day. Okay.
Also, I'm on your left, right? I'm on your left on the screen. So
you know what?
Yeah. So
there you go.
Got all the Captain America stuff in that I could. Moving on, they showed scenes from Ironheart, which is finally coming out. It'll be June 24th. Ironheart was filmed in 2022. Of course, we saw Riri Williams. The character was introduced in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever back in late 2022. So this show is finally coming out. Anthony Ramos is also starring in this show. Looks like he'll be the villain. It looks pretty good. I got to say, I'm interested to see how this looks on or how the series plays out, but visually it looks pretty great. So, going to be checking that out. Continuing, they also going to have Marvel Zombies, which remember that was an episode of What If in season 1.
That was a good
It's
episode.
finally coming next Halloween. So Halloween 2025, we'll get Marvel Zombies. And then finally, to wrap up the TV schedule for 2025 for Marvel, is Wonder Man. It's set to come out December 2025 with Yahya Abdul Mateen, I believe he's a star. If you're not familiar with him, he was Black Manta in the Aquaman movies, and he was also, more importantly, in you know, I mean, he's a great actor, but he was phenomenal in the Watchmen series on HBO. Definitely, if you haven't seen the Watchmen series, check that out. It is so good. He plays a very important role. I don't want to spoil it, but he's a key figure in that series. So check that out. And then the movie slate, which was not mentioned in the teaser, but I just want to mention it. The next film we have, of course, is Captain America: Brave New World, coming out on Valentine's Day 2025, followed by Thunderbolts with the asterisk on May 2nd. And then Fantastic Four: First Steps will be coming out July 25th, 2025. Can't wait for those films. Brittany, what's your hype level for what the stuff I just mentioned for TV and also the movie slate for 2025?
TV, hands down, Daredevil.
Yeah.
But for more immediate, I'm very excited for What If, because I've enjoyed the seasons that we've gotten thus far. I think because it's a different spin on the Avengers and the characters that we've really grown to care about and whatnot, to see them in different scenarios and in different, albeit professions. Like the one where T'Challa was, Star-Lord. I thought that was hilarious. I need a real version of the 1600s episode that we got. I need that
great.
as a live action.
Yeah.
That was a great episode.
Yeah, 1602. It was awesome.
1602. That was a great episode. I need a live action version. So I'm looking forward to what season 3 will hold for us. And I know this is going to be like the series finale for it. So I'm hoping they go out with a bang and don't leave me feeling empty inside like Agatha did, sadly.
Yeah.
Shout out to Christian, who's joining us in today's chat. Appreciate you being here. Yep. We've kind of wrapped up talking about Agatha all along, but we're now talking about what future installments are for the MCU.
Yeah.
Love to hear your thoughts, of course, on Agatha. If you want to leave your comments in the chat or in the comment section down below. Yeah, Trisha over here says she is excited for Thunderbolts. Listen.
Yep.
Show me that Winter Soldier anytime. Sebastian, yes.
Speaking of Thunderbolts,
do we have a rating for Thunderbolts? I haven't heard of anything.
I don't think that they've released that information yet. The movie, again, it's not coming out until May 2025. I bet it's not rated R. Just, Deadpool Wolverine was kind of a special thing. I mean, there's obviously going to be more rated R movies in the MCU, but I don't think Thunderbolts will be one of them. I might be wrong though. Who knows? We'll see.
I think Daredevil should be rated R.
It's TVMA.
No, it needs to be rated R.
I think the rating R is for movies, not.
I said what I said.
Okay. Well, it's not a movie, so. But speaking of the movies, going forward, like I said, the slate's pretty open. They've got some massive movies in 2026. You've got Avengers: Doomsday, which of course is going to bring Robert Downey Jr. back to the MCU. And then, like I said, the untitled Spider-Man sequel, which is coming out July 24th, 2026. And then we have Avengers: Secret Wars in 2027. So there's a lot of room on the slate for maybe a Wanda movie, possibly Doctor Strange 3. There's who knows? But
I'll let you know.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to Brave New World though.
Yeah.
That one I got to see Harrison Hulk out.
Yeah. So Brittany, any final thoughts on Agatha or the MCU you want to mention before we get out of here?
It's not perfect. Obviously, Agatha along was not perfect. The title, of course, fit in very well with the finale of the show. The fact that between her and her son having written the original ballad, The Witch's Road, and would sing it to lure other witches so she could steal their power in order to survive, which ultimately did not pan out well for Nikki. Poor sweet thing. He was just an innocent, right? And his time was called and Rio came to get him, claim him. It did kind of break my heart though when he kissed his mom goodbye on the cheek as she was sleeping. So that was yeah. So in that respect, the ballad, the road, the whole lore of the story, it was Agatha all along. It's always been about Agatha all along.
Right.
However, like Trish just said here in the in the chat, the series was actually Wiccan all along because he created the road that never actually existed. Agatha never actually walked the witch's road.
Right.
And she did try to tell him that when they first met, but he was adamant. And there was one other thing, Justin, that I actually wanted to mention when they were going back and forth when Billy was like, oh, it was me. She made a comment about how between Billy and Wanda, you're so much alike. You unfortunately for you, you have the same tell. And it's like, well, what's the tell? Like what was it?
Yeah, she never revealed that. So.
That's what I'm saying. Like these little things that were like said, or just it never paid off.
Right.
And it's very frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah. No, fair. Yeah, like you and Trisha made some great points, and this the last two episodes definitely had some holes, but I think there was enough about this show that I really enjoyed. I enjoyed the song, I enjoyed the road, I enjoyed the acting.
Lilia's episode.
Yeah, I enjoyed the acting performances. I enjoyed Aubrey Plaza being the MCU. I enjoyed so many things about this show. That I still think it's one of the better shows. But I agree, it's not perfect. It's far from perfect. But they did the best they could, I guess, given the circumstances. And there's more stories to tell, and hopefully we get to see those going forward.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Is there anything else you want to mention, Brittany, before I have one more final thing I want to talk about?
Please.
So, okay, so I'm gonna take the mask off because as much as maybe you don't like the finale of Agatha, that's fine. But I want to talk about a movie I went to see last week that is so bad. It's so bad that I have to share this with y'all. I went to see Venom: The Last Dance on the opening Friday.
I'm never gonna dance again.
Venom never should dance again. Yeah, no, that would have been a great song because for the movie. That movie is brutal. I mean, it's such a tough watch. It was the first time I've seen a non-Spider-Man Sony movie in the theaters, and I wish I would have kept my streak intact because it was not worth it. It's not a good movie. And for all the people who trashed Joker Folie à Deux, there is some song and dance bullshit in this movie that is so bad, that is so unfunny. I mean, I gotta say, I was kind of offended by this movie, and I think that Sony should be forced to give the Spider-Man movie rights back to Disney. I mean, ASAP. It's a real bad movie. And
Trisha wants to know why you would punish yourself like that.
Well, originally, Trisha, we were going to do a podcast about it, but then after I went to see it, I just told everybody else, like, no, I don't want to put y'all through this. I don't.
So, for context, both Justin and I were off work last Friday, and that was not planned or anything. It just kind of happened to be so. And while I was busy doing filming for something else, Justin went to go watch the movie. He messaged our group chat about the movie, and I'm like, so we're not going to do a pod over this? He's like, nope. I'm like, good to know. That way I don't need to buy tickets. So
no, we're not.
Yeah.
King B, I want to shout him out with his comment here. He says, hashtag the 90s, the real Last Dance. Yeah, that's something I want to mention because Venom used the Last Dance subtitle, which of course the Last Dance was the Chicago Bulls Michael Jordan documentary that was on Netflix in 2020. And it was a kind of a cultural moment. It's a big event during the pandemic. And for Venom to kind of co-opt that title, I was offended when I first heard about the title. I was like, why are you doing this? Like, it doesn't make sense. And then, but honestly, a better movie would have been had one of the Chicago Bulls gotten the symbiote and he had to determine which of them want to have the symbiote back in the locker room back in those days. That would have been a better movie than Venom: The Last Dance. The only thing, I don't want to spoil it for anybody who might watch it eventually. I just will say this. If you're worried about Spider-Man, don't worry about Spider-Man. There's no connections. There's no references. There's no mentions of Spider-Man. in Venom: The Last Dance. So you can just go in and enjoy it, I guess, or not. But tough movie, really tough movie. Yeah, King B mentions Craven the Hunter is Sony's last hope. Like that movie looks good. I'm gonna go see it. It
Man, I
comes out.
hope it is.
It
I
comes out
hope it is.
December 15th. We might do a podcast about it. We'll see. But man, Venom: Last Dance really was a letdown because the first Venom movie I thought was fine. The second one I wasn't a big fan of. This one is just like a nosedive from the second one, which most people didn't like the second one. So tough watch. I just want to mention it because we weren't going to do a pod all about that by itself because yeah, it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun. So
You poor thing.
yeah. Yeah, Trisha says it would have been Dennis Rodman for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think Rodman was the obvious one, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's somebody else. Maybe it's Steve Kerr. That's how he became the coach of the Warriors or something. Who knows? Like that. There's a lot of ways you go with that story that would be way better than what they did with Venom: The Last Dance. I'll just leave it at that. So, Brittany, as we get out of here this Halloween night, anything else you want to mention? Any final thoughts? Any comments you want to mention from the chat before we get out of here?
No, I just wanted to say thank you all who have joined us throughout this Witches Road, this Watchers Road.
This Watchers Road. There we go. Down the road, down the Watchers Road. Come on.
Like we're going to be off a little bit. Okay. We're virtually doing this podcast. It's not going to be like in unison.
Continue.
Sorry to bust your bubble. Yeah, no, I appreciate everyone who's taking the time out of their day to join us down the Watchers Road as we review Agatha all along and join in my disappointment at the end of this road. I didn't get what I wanted, which is very sad. Don't know what I wanted, but I didn't get it. So that being said, I take that back. I wanted people to review along with us. I wanted people to subscribe. I wanted people to like, and y'all have done that. Y'all have made this journey so much better by hanging out with us in the live chat, sharing your theories, sharing your thoughts, and couldn't have asked for more. So thank y'all for doing that for us. Appreciate the love, and always come back, to check out more things that we're doing. We're still continuing the review on The Penguin, which that better not let me down. My God, at this point.
It won't. Trust me. It's on another level.
Yeah. So that's also happening, as well as the guys. Join them every Tuesday for the football podcast if you're into that.
Yeah, right now our Texans are taking on the Jets in New York on Halloween night. So
that's right, they are.
Thursday. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So we appreciate you all being here. As always, thank you, Trisha, for joining us for the pods. As well as King V Johnson. Love the people always. Watchers in the Basement. Yeah, appreciate it. And all the newcomers as well. If you haven't done so already, subscribe, hit that like button, and also hit that notification bell. That way you know the next time we go live. We also have social media, so check the description box down below for all of our links. And lastly, we also have audio podcasts available to you on Apple and Spotify. Give us a follow, give us a 5-star rating.
Thank you, Brittany. I appreciate it. So for Brittany, I am Justin saying thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We will see you next time. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Down the road, down the Watchers Road.
I knew you were going to sing. You had to.
Yep.
Thanks, everybody. We appreciate it. Okay, bye-bye. Happy Halloween.